Youths of St. Andrew, are you looking for a new opportunity? If so, Cinders CMOS Health and Wellness is inviting 5 young people between the ages of 16 and 25 to take part in a free 1-year CMOS farming training program. Participants will receive hands-on training in sustainable, eco-friendly CMOS cultivation along with a monthly travel stipend. And here's the best part, 2 of the 5 places are reserved for young women. To apply or learn more, email ann.harvey0188@gmail.com or send a WhatsApp message to 473-458-9475. Applications deadline Thursday, July 31st, and training begins on Monday, August 17th, 2026. Don't miss this opportunity to gain valuable skills, earn while you learn, and grow a brighter future with CMOS farming. Apply today. Spaces are limited. Cinders CMOS Health and Wellness.
Get ready to move, sweat, vibe, and repeat. The St. Patrick Carnival Development Committee presents a Dancercise, a fun-filled dance fitness workout guaranteed to get your heart pumping and your spirit lifted. Join us twice a week, every Tuesday and Thursday, for 4 exciting weeks, starting Tuesday, July 7th from 5 p.m. Meet us at the Sates RC Hard Court and come ready to dance, have fun, and feel the vibes. All fitness levels are welcome. Just bring your water, your energy, and your biggest smile. Dancercise. Let's dance, let's sweat, let's celebrate our culture. Brought to you by the St. Patrick Carnival Development Committee.
Step inside. Immerse yourself in colors that come alive.
Color by Sissons.
Let your imagination run wild. Surround yourself in a world of color.
Color by Sissons.
Endless inspiration. Bold expression. Bold expression.
Color by Sissons. Sissons. Express your style with Color by Sissons.
Hurricane season is here, and the best time to prepare through every season.
Real expression on 919 Real FM. Unfiltered truth, cultural pride, and the power of radio to amplify voices in Grenada. Whoa! Tune in on the spice side, where the airwaves free read. On the radio see. Whoa! No sugar-coated lyrics, no fabricated vibe, just the raw truth a flow like Mount Kwakwa Tribe. From Grand Anse to St. George, this the people them a shout. Real expression now, I let your heart pour out. Microphone to the heavens, the signal strong and clear. Voices of the voiceless, the oppressed, the sincere. Real FM are the vessel, your message fill the air. Speak your truth, Grenada, where your heart there. Real expression, real connection. 91.9 the righteous reflection. From the hills to the harbor, hear the nation sing. Real FM, the sound where make freedom ring. Real expression, real connection. 91.9 the righteous reflection. From the hills to the harbor, hear the nation sing. Real FM, the sound where make freedom ring.
Good morning, and happy Monday to each and every one of you. It is 5 minutes gone past the 7 o'clock hour. Another beautiful day here in Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique. Before we proceed into our program for this morning, let us, of course, give God thanks and praise. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before your throne of grace, Lord. We thank you for yet another beautiful day in the land of the living. We thank you for allowing us
to, Lord, have a restful night and to be rejuvenated to go about our daily task. We pray that you be with each and every one of us, Lord Jesus. Go before us and clear the way. Bless our island, Lord Jesus. Bless our family, our friends. In your holy and precious name we pray. Amen and amen. And good morning to each and every one of you. It is another Monday morning. It is Real Expressions, and our topic this morning from 7:30 would be responsibility of financial institutions. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that. Last week, of course, we spoke to what to expect you as the customer from the financial institutions. And this morning, we're going to dive into the responsibility of the financial institutions to you. Of course, you know, once Mr. Pierre gets here, then we will proceed with this morning's discussion. However, I did want to talk a little bit with you guys this morning as it relates to your well-being. You know, I like to do my wellness check-in just to make sure everybody's good, everything is going great. You know, so how are you guys doing? How have you guys been? How was the weekend? You know, a lot of activities took place on Friday, Thursday. Well, actually, since the Thursday night, we had the Groovy semifinals taking place at the Cuthbert Peters. Why am I saying Cuthbert Peters Park in Guelph? Why am I thinking about Guelph? So much things happened over the weekend. At Progress Park in St. Andrew, we had the Groovy semifinals on Thursday, and on Friday we saw the Power semifinals taking place as well. Trying to just pull up the list just to inform you guys, you know, if you're not informed as yet. And last night, for our Calypso lovers, we had the Calypso semi-finals. So a lot of updates to provide. So moving on to the finals for the Groovy Soca, which will be held on Friday, August 7th. And guys, before I go any further, do you guys think that time is running really, really quickly? Like, we are entering into Spice Mass next week. Like, that's literally right there. You know, wow. What a month July was. July, she put her foot on that gas and it was pace, you know. But moving on to the Groovy finals, we have Sakina Ambrose, we have Shotbury, we have Tara the Governor, we have Muddy, we have Reggae Atmosphere, we have Sabrina, we have Laser HD, we have Looney Spark and Electrify, Blackadan, Boise, Jefferson, and of course defending Monarch Golden. For the Power, our finalists are General PP, Bubba 473, Tara the Governor, Muddy, Lil Jello, Mellow, Lil Carrie, Looney Spark and Electrify, Shaquan, Snakey, Mansly, and Happy Boy. And last night's results for the Calypso, moving on to the finals, we are seeing here. We have Jello, we have Shireen, we have Randy, we have Jerrington, we have Innocent, we have Big J, we have Messenger, we have Killer B, Valine, Sour Serpent, and Father Paul. So guys, these are the finalists in the competition for Spice Mass 2026. But yeah, how's everybody doing? You know, it's a brand new week. I trust that you've already set your goals yesterday and you're ready to take on the week and what it has to offer. Of course, God's guidance and blessing to you guys. And yeah, let God direct the week, you know, his will, not ours, of course. So I just trust that each and every one of you, you're well. And everything is good. On my end, everything is okay. Life is well. The family is good. It was a really relaxing weekend for me, I should say. Shout out to the St. Patrick Carnival Development Committee on putting on a wonderful showcase yesterday with their Shotney Showdown event. It was a really good event. I passed by. Something I want to say to you guys. How should I put this? You are responsible for your own happiness. And too many times I see, well, I like to scroll on social media to know what's going on, And too much of times I see on social media persons allowing other people's posts or things that people say to get the better of them. And I've said this before, guys. You can only control you. You are responsible for yourself. And I don't know what gave us the thought that we are here for a very long time, that we are going to live forever, because yes, we want to live in the moment. I do believe in, cherishing the moments that you have, but at the end of the day, I believe doing it in a respectful manner and in a manner that serves you, because I feel as though we pretend sometimes to be people that we are not. Based on what we post on social media, we allow our emotions to get the better of us. And I cannot stress this enough. You are responsible for you. Your happiness belongs to you. Do not allow someone's behavior, their words, their actions, whatever it is, or even something, to get the better of you and to take you out of your happy and peaceful environment. Yes, of course, life comes with the challenges, but if we have faith and we have trust in the Most High, then we will be all right. So I thought that I should say that and remind you guys that you are responsible for your own happiness, and don't let someone's behavior, their actions, their words, or anything, or even something in your life, it doesn't necessarily have to be someone, but you may bounce your big toe. Don't allow that to dampen your spirits, and get the better of you and cause you to step out of your happiness and your peace and your level-headedness. You do not have to stoop to anyone's level to how we put it, our comeback. You don't just leave it where it needs to be. God will take care of it. So just thought I should share that with you guys this morning. Good morning to each and every one of you that's just joining. Good morning to you, Miss Mona. I trust that you are well. I know I still have something for you, but of course, with Mr. Donald out, it's a bit hectic for me, but don't worry. I have not forgotten you. Good morning to Miss Kami. Good morning to each and every one of our contributors, the people who tune in every single day. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you.
Good morning, Drumsticks. How are you?
I'm good. I lost the station, so I'll be for this morning.
Yes, I did.
Okay, I just got the station, so let me say, the Lord is my shepherd.
Go ahead.
Good morning to the nation. I read from the word of God, Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leads me in the pathway of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. For you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, and my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow shall follow me all the days of my life. I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. This is the end of the scripture this morning.
Thank
and
you
have
so
a lovely
much.
day.
You as well.
Bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Youths of St. Andrew, are you looking for a new opportunity? If so, Cinders CMOS Health and Wellness is inviting 5 young people between the ages of 16 and 25 to take part in a free 1-year CMOS farming training program. Participants will receive hands-on training in sustainable, eco-friendly CMOS cultivation along with a monthly travel stipend. And here's the best part, 2 of the 5 places are reserved for young women. To apply or learn more, email ann.havey0188@gmail.com or send a WhatsApp message to 473-458-9475. Applications deadline Thursday, July 31st, and training begins on Monday, August 17th, 2026. Don't miss this opportunity to gain valuable skills, earn while you learn, and grow a brighter future with CMOS farming. Apply today. Spaces are limited. Cinders CMOS Health and Wellness.
Get ready to move, sweat, vibe, and repeat. The St. Patrick Carnival Development Committee presents a Dancercise, a fun-filled dance fitness workout guaranteed to get your heart pumping and your spirit lifted. Join us twice a week, every Tuesday and Thursday, for 4 exciting weeks, starting Tuesday, July 7th from 5 p.m. Meet us at the Sates RC Hard Court and come ready to dance, have fun, and feel the vibes. All fitness levels are welcome. Just bring your water, your energy, and your biggest smile. Dancercise. Let's dance, let's sweat, let's celebrate our culture. Brought to you by the St. Patrick Carnival Development Committee.
Yo. Grenada on Tuesday, August 4th.
All bad squad assemble.
Because the thing's done. Get ready for the big one once again. The ultimate mass event is back. Crave. Crave, the birthday edition. Come celebrate with Grenada's mashup ambassador, Boise.
Because I don't give one boy. We don't do it.
Boise, as he celebrates his birthday with you. And for the first time, experience Grenada's first Twilight event, a spectacular day into night edition, where the vibe starts early and carries straight into an unforgettable night of energy and entertainment. Come experience non-stop vibes, ultimate mass, and high energy entertainment by Grenada's top performers, all backed by the explosive Bad Squad Band. One day, one night, one massive celebration. We're talking dirty mass, paint, powder, girls, and rum.
I'm back in me bag on this road.
Tuesday, August 4th, Crave is the event everyone will be talking about.
Real expression on 919 Real FM. Unfiltered truth, cultural pride, and the power of radio to amplify voices in Grenada. Whoa! Tuning on the spice side, where the airwaves free read. On the radio see. Whoa! No sugar-coated lyrics, no fabricated vibe.
And we are back, guys. Beautiful Monday morning. And to provide us with an update as it relates to the weather for today, we have Miss Trisha Miller on the line. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you. Good morning to you, listeners of Real FM. It's a fair morning here at the airport. Winds are calm. Barometric pressure 1014.6 millibars, which is above the mean, and it's rising. Present temperature 28.8 degrees Celsius. Relative humidity 79%. Yesterday's maximum temperature was 30.3 degrees Celsius, and the minimum temperature last night was 27.3 degrees Celsius. Over the past 24 hours, only a trace of rainfall was recorded here at the MBIA, hence the total for the month remains at 128.2 millimeters. Now the public forecast valid for today and tonight for Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique. The weather is expected to be mostly fair but slightly hazy. Winds east-northeasterly to easterly at 10 to 20 miles per hour, becoming variable to calm at times. Today's maximum temperature is expected to get up to 32 degrees Celsius. Seas slight to moderate, waves 3 to 5 feet in open waters. Tides will be low around 9 a.m. and high about 3:30 p.m. Sunset this evening at 6:34. Sunrise tomorrow morning at 5:53. So just to recap, the weather is expected to be mostly fair but slightly hazy. From the Met Office, Trisha Miller.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you. Same to you.
Thank you.
From Carriacou shores to the crater.
Step inside. Immerse yourself in colors that come alive.
Color by Seasons.
Let your imagination run wild. Surround yourself in a world of color.
Color by Seasons.
Endless inspiration. Bold expression. Bold expression.
Color by Seasons. Seasons. Express your style with Color by Seasons.
In Grenada, we supply fertilizers, herbicides, seedlings and nursery supplies, diesel water pumps, walk behind tillers, organic and environmentally friendly agricultural inputs. We're serving you from 2 locations at Birch Grove and booth 34 at the Vendors Market in Grenville. Cost-effective agricultural solutions for all your needs. Visit Gittins Home and Garden Center for the best in everything agriculture. Call us on 409-2175 or 438-4337. Gittins Home and Garden Center, from your farm to your backyard.
In an industry where customers expect quality, M&N Hardware Limited is a leader in locally manufactured aluminum windows, doors, roofing, and guttering. Our manufacturing division is efficient, flexible, and will always go the extra mile to surpass customer expectations. If you need security, sash, casement, or projected windows, we're able to do it. Our security and heavy-duty doors are state-of-the-art and can be customized specifically for you. Using innovative coating technologies and protective film, our roofing and guttering is weather-resistant, providing outstanding color retention for many years. Available in 24 and 26 gauge and a variety of color options. We are the leading company, a family that is proving to customers they can have their dream products. M&N Hardware Limited. Foundation to roof, let's build together.
Are you ready to take your brand to the next level? Look no further than the Chameleon Design Studios, the creative powerhouse behind Key Central and dozens of standout brands across Grenada and beyond. From web designs, animations, and motion graphics to custom video productions, we bring your visions to life with unmatched efficiency and professionalism. Need a logo? Logo design starts at just $1,500, and our starter pack includes brochures, call cards, and letterheads. Whether you're launching a new business, revamping your identity, or telling your story visually, Chameleon Design Studios is the new face of designs. Call us now at 1473-422-8601 or scan that QR code. Follow us on Instagram at Chameleon_473. Let's communicate. Call us today.
Turn up the summer vibes with Flow. Add postpaid to your internet and score a Samsung A07 for just $80. Or grab a $300 summer pack. New to Flow? Get postpaid and receive $500 off the new Samsung S26 Ultra. Or switch to prepaid and get a free 30-day plan with 80 gigs. Plus 50% off for 6 months. Every offer lets you spin and win instant prizes. Plus a chance to win a Golden Mask Carnival experience. Or a grand shopping spree. Visit discoverflow.co today and turn up your summer vibes with Flow, cause we keep your rhythm flowing.
A new school year means new opportunities, but it also means new expenses. From uniforms and books to laptops, transportation and school supplies, Grenville Cooperative Credit Union Limited is here to help. Apply for a back-to-school loan and give your child the confident start they deserve with affordable financing and friendly service from the credit union you know and trust. Visit your nearest Grenville Cooperative Credit Union branch or call us today for more information. Grenville Cooperative Credit Union Limited. helping members build brighter futures, one school year at a time.
Classic Furniture. Our items are made from the best local wood available on island. Our products are made with love, care, and the experience we have gained over the years. Why do you even contemplate using substandard furniture, which is imported, when you can get the best made right here in Grenada? Our factory is located in the cultural village of Chantimel and our showroom on Ben Jones Street, St. Andrew. We are also noted for refurbishing that piece of furniture to its initial look. When looking for quality furniture, there is only one place to look, and that's Classic Furniture, where we take care of your needs with utmost care. So give us a call today and put your furniture woes to rest. Classic Furniture, where love and luxury is combined to provide the ultimate satisfaction. Call us today on 442-4645. Classic Furniture.
Youths of St. Andrew, are you looking for a new opportunity? If so, Cinders CMOS Health and Wellness is inviting 5 young people between the ages of 16 and 25 to take part in a free 1-year CMOS farming training program. Participants will receive hands-on training in sustainable, eco-friendly CMOS cultivation along with a monthly travel stipend. And here's the best part, 2 of the 5 places are reserved for young women. To apply or learn more, email ann.harvey0188@gmail.com or send a WhatsApp message to 473-458-9475. Applications deadline Thursday, July 31st, and training begins on Monday, August 17th, 2026. Don't miss this opportunity to gain valuable skills, earn while you learn, and grow a brighter future with CMOS farming. Apply today. Spaces are limited. Cinders CMOS Health and Wellness.
Get ready to move, sweat, vibe, and repeat. The St. Patrick Carnival Development Committee presents a Dancercise, a fun-filled dance fitness workout guaranteed to get your heart pumping and your spirit lifted. Join us twice a week, every Tuesday and Thursday, for 4 exciting weeks, starting Tuesday, July 7th from 5 p.m. Meet us at the Sates RC Hard Court and come ready to dance, have fun, and feel the vibes. All fitness levels are welcome. Just bring your water, your energy, and your biggest smile. Dancercise. Let's dance, let's sweat, let's celebrate our culture. Brought to you by the St. Patrick Carnival Development Committee. The Grenville Cooperative Credit Union Limited wishes to inform all members that its 39th annual general meeting will be held on Tuesday, July 28 at 4:30 p.m. at the Deluxe Cinema, Gladstone Road, Grenville, St. Andrew. This year's theme is From Growth to Sustainability, Strengthening Capacity, Managing Risk, Preserving Member Confidence. Please note that all GCCU offices will close at 12 noon on Tuesday, July 28 to facilitate the meeting. The Grandlands branch will open from 8 a.m. and members may continue to access their accounts using GCCU debit card services. The Grenville Cooperative Credit Union Limited thanks you for your continued support and looks forward to your participation at the 39th annual general meeting.
Yo, Grenada on Tuesday, August 4th.
All bad squad assemble.
Because the things start. Get ready for the big one once again. The ultimate mass event is back. Crave.
We mad blood take over. They feel like a jockey with them when I catch them is over.
Crave, the birthday edition. Come celebrate with Grenada's mashup ambassador, Boise.
Because I don't give one boy. We don't do it.
Boise, as he celebrates his birthday with you and And for the first time, experience Grenada's first Twilight event, a spectacular day into night edition where the vibe starts early and carries straight into an unforgettable night of energy and entertainment. Come experience non-stop vibes, ultimate mass, and high energy entertainment by Grenada's top performers, all backed by the explosive Bad Squad Band. One day, one night, one massive celebration. We're talking dirty mass, paint, powder, girls, and rum. I'm back in me bag on this road. Tuesday, August 4th, Crave is the event everyone will be talking about.
Step inside. Immerse yourself in colors that come alive.
Color by Sissons.
Let your imagination run wild. Surround yourself in a world of color.
Color by Sissons.
Endless inspiration. Bold expression. Bold expression.
Color by Sissons. Sissons. Express your style with Color by Sissons.
In Grenada, we supply fertilizers, herbicides, seedlings and nursery supplies, diesel water pumps, walk behind tillers, organic and environmentally friendly agricultural inputs. We're serving you from 2 locations at Birch Grove and booth 34 at the Vendors Market in Grenville. Cost-effective agricultural solutions for all your needs. Visit Gittins Home and Garden Center for the best in everything agriculture. Call us on 409-2175 or 438-4337. Gittins Home and Garden Center, from your farm to your backyard.
In an industry where customers expect quality, M&N Hardware Limited is a leader in locally manufactured aluminum windows, doors, roofing, and guttering. Our manufacturing division is efficient, flexible, and will always go the extra mile to surpass customer expectations. If you need security, sash, casement, or projected windows, we're able to do it. Our security and heavy-duty doors are state-of-the-art and can be customized specifically for you. Using innovative coating technologies and protective film, our roofing and guttering is weather-resistant, providing outstanding color retention for many years. Available in 24 and 26 gauge and a variety of color options. We are the leading company, a family that is proving to customers they can have their dream products. M&N Hardware Limited. Foundation to roof, let's build together.
Are you ready to take your brand to the next level? Look no further than the Chameleon Design Studios, the creative powerhouse behind Key Central and dozens of standout brands across Grenada and beyond. From web designs, animations, and motion graphics to custom video productions, we bring your visions to life with unmatched efficiency and professionalism. Need a logo? Logo design starts at just $1,500, and our starter pack includes brochures, call cards, and letterheads. Whether you're launching a new business, revamping your identity, or telling your story visual, Chameleon Design Studios is the new face of designs. Call us now at 1473-422-8601 or scan that QR code. Follow us on Instagram at chameleon_473. Let's communicate. Call us today.
Turn up the summer vibes with Flow. Add postpaid to your internet and score a Samsung A07 for just $80. Or grab a $300 summer pack. New to Flow? Get postpaid and receive $500 off the new Samsung S26 Ultra. Or switch to prepaid and get a free 30-day plan with 80 gigs. Plus 50% off for 6 months. Every offer lets you spin and win instant prizes. Plus a chance to win a Golden Mass Carnival experience. Or a grand shopping spree. Visit discoverflow.co today and turn up your summer vibes with Flow, cause we keep your rhythm flowing.
A new school year means new opportunities, but it also means new expenses. From uniforms and books to laptops, transportation and school supplies, Grenville Cooperative Credit Union Limited is here to help. Apply for a back-to-school loan and give your child the confident start they deserve with affordable financing and friendly service from the credit union you know and trust. Visit your nearest Grenville Cooperative Credit Union branch or call us today for more information. Grenville Cooperative Credit Union Limited. helping members build brighter futures, one school year at a time.
Classic Furniture. Our items are made from the best local wood available on island. Our products are made with love, care, and the experience we have gained over the years. Why do you even contemplate using substandard furniture, which is imported, when you can get the best made right here in Grenada? Our factory is located in the cultural village of Chantimel and our showroom on Ben Jones Street, St. Andrew. We are also noted for refurbishing that piece of furniture to its initial look. When looking for quality furniture, there is only one place to look, and that's Classic Furniture, where we take care of your needs with utmost care. So give us a call today and put your furniture woes to rest. Classic Furniture, where love and luxury is combined to provide the ultimate satisfaction. Call us today on 442-4645. Classic Furniture.
Real expression on 919 Real FM. Unfiltered truth, cultural pride, and the power of radio to amplify voices in Grenada. Whoa! Tune in on the spice side, where the airwaves free read. On the radio see. Whoa! No sugar-coated lyrics, no fabricated vibe, just the raw truth a flow like Mount Kwakwa Tribe. Oh. From Grand Anse to St. George, this the people them a shout. Real expression now hide, let your heart pour out. Oh.
And we are back, guys. This morning, as I said, we will be speaking responsibility of financial institutions. Of course, last week we spoke on what customers can expect when they visit these financial institutions, and today, Mr. Pierre, the expert, is going to be shedding some light a little bit on the responsibility of the financial institutions to us, the customers or consumers, whichever way you would want to describe us in this case, or the members for credit unions, the members. Good morning to you, Mr. Pierre.
Inabi, what's up?
I'm okay.
Yeah, thank you for giving me this expert title.
Well, it's your field. You have some knowledge there.
How was your weekend?
It was good.
Yeah, see today you dress all colorful, kind of like Joseph's coat.
Yes! I never thought about
you
that.
bang on target to Joseph coat there.
Yes!
Yes, good stuff. It's a normally when I wear colors, I call it happy shirts because it tend to make you feel a certain way, And but you're all colorful and so on. I'm wearing pink this morning. It's a brave color for a man to as well.
Yeah.
So brave men wear pink.
I think more men are wearing pink now.
Yeah, man. That is far gone now.
Yeah.
People are very open to wearing different colors and so on. Yeah. But yes, a new day, brand new day, a new day to start and do some good stuff. To be kind to somebody, to be thankful to God for life. The fact that we can breathe on our own. You know how many people are not able to breathe on their own? They need support, they need oxygen, help. So the fact that we can do that on our own, it's a reason to give thanks to God and to embrace that there is indeed a higher power.
Yes.
And this morning when I was during the prayer time, Prayer Without Boundaries on Facebook and Zoom, I was speaking to the participants about the inner man. And if we believe, if we are following Christ, we ought to now take up this new man.
Yes.
And the old man must be left behind. And sometimes we find we put on new clothes. It doesn't mean that the old man is gone.
It's a bit difficult. I can tell you that I'm struggling with a lot of stuff, but I think it's more of just taking it one day at a time.
Well, it's okay because in the book of John, Jesus speaks about taking up your cross and following him daily. It's not an instant mission. It's an ongoing process that we pay attention to. So every now and then we have to remind ourselves that look, that old man should be dead and we should be this new creature, new thinking. This change must take place in the mind, and it's a. We are fallible. We make mistakes. We have to be easy on ourselves and simply just continue to do good.
I think now more than ever, I'm not gonna say I'm being tested, because it's the festive season. It's carnival. it's a lot happening. There are a lot of activities that But interestingly enough, I can say that I don't really have the appetite for some of it. Like, it's not a necessity. Like before, I must go to this, I must do this. Right now, it's kind of like I'm just there, and it's like, okay, whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Why is that connotation? Why is carnival a test or
I would say, I think it's who I normally surround myself with for the carnival.
Oh, that.
Yes, that. I'm not saying that, friends have an influence on me, because I have proven that they don't. But when the festive season comes around, you tend to want to indulge in things that you really should not be indulging in.
Right.
So I have to look at now where I position myself, who I surround myself with. I think I have to surround myself with people who are a bit more understanding, instead of people that would say, oh, but you used to do this, you used to do that,
Right.
those type of things, and try and make that change. I'm not saying that I'm not going to be participating, but I'm very mindful of where and how.
Yeah, sometimes in our mind we have this shift, and we increase and add things to our culture that is not necessarily there, and we call it culture. I remember as a boy when it just used to be quite easy to just stand and look at the masqueraders, and everything seemed in line. These days a bit off.
Yeah.
But I guess you do it in moderation.
Yeah. I mean, you want to support the culture, but at the same time, you have to be. For me, what I'm learning about myself is that you have to be mindful, and your environment, your surroundings, the people you choose to go to these events with, they play a major role, because there may be friends that you would go to an event with. You have a certain time that you want to leave. They're not ready to leave. They feel as though they have to close the show.
Right.
And like, you just have to be a bit more mindful about your surroundings.
Right, but it's a pity that we have to add that part of this cultural extravaganza that carnival is supposed to be, right?
I mean, it's our culture. Some of the things, it's our culture, and of course we want to go out and support and all of these things, but mindfulness is what is knocking on my door right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Years ago, I heard about I saw a company who were providing coffee and hot drinks.
Yeah, that was Netherlands
after certain
Insurance.
shows, to help with the, to kind of bring some sobriety to those who might have consumed too much alcohol.
Yeah.
All in the right direction.
Yeah, and I think Sunday morning, I was going to an event with someone in Grenville that morning after the event at Moonlight City, and the amount of accidents that I saw, it just made me think, like, are we for real? Like, are we not thinking you spend so much money to buy your vehicle, or even if you take a loan, it's still money that you have to pay back, and like, you're not being mindful to actually take care of the vehicle. If you're tired, it doesn't take away anything to just pack up and take a rest. And then the manner in which some of them are in the vehicle, especially the males, not to knock you guys, but be mindful, because bottles are swinging out of the back vehicle, man hanging out, like, come on.
Right. I guess the spirit of the carnival.
That's not the spirit of carnival. That is the spirit of drunkenness.
Yeah, I think what should be encouraged is the usage of shuttles instead of personal driving.
Yeah.
Obviously, people are not only drinking a little bit more than they normally drink, alcohol that is, but obviously there's a lack of sleep and a lot going on,
Yeah.
So I guess it's about, we've been talking the last time about self-care.
Yeah.
So if you add self-care into how you respond to the season, I suspect that would be helpful in terms of preserving life, preserving yourself, looking after yourself, still trying to get maximum sleep and so on, right? Because at the end of the festival, you have a life, you have kids, you know, some people have spouses, you have a job, you know, and you need a car.
Yeah.
So you don't want to, you don't
and
want
a lot of them, they get caught up in the moment is what I've noticed, you know. They get a bit too caught up in the moment and forget their other responsibilities. I always say there is life after Carnival.
Well, it's part of this euphoric feeling and so on. All the adrenaline that is pumping and everything is, you know, that encourages people to be all enthusiastic and so on for the flavor. But I say, you know, self-care, being responsible is important. You know? And loving each other. If we care for each other, we won't drink and drive because the possibility exists that you might run off the road and bong somebody. Right? If you care for somebody, you won't be violent. So I think it boils down to self-care and love for each other as we do all this celebrating and everything else that we are partaking in. And then we need to be mindful of our spending.
Yeah, I think next week we'll speak to them about that as time goes closer. Yes, we don't want to go off topic for this morning. So probably sometime next week.
Yeah, man. Yeah, certainly we'll talk about it. This morning we're talking about the responsibility of financial institutions. Last week we spoke about that as well, but we focused on what the customers or the members should expect. This time around, we want to speak about the financial institution because obviously, whether you have an account in the bank or use a credit union or even you send money overseas with the money remitters, or you purchase insurance or you invest or just simply conduct business every day, you make use of a financial institution.
Right.
And I want to just focus on the role of the financial institution in combating money laundering and terrorist financing and the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. And of course, we talked about how frustrated people can become when a bank asks for proof of address and proof of income and the source of funds for transactions. And we talked a lot about that. Or even ask for additional identification. And people wonder why all these questions all of a sudden. Why so much paperwork, for example? The answer is simply that the financial institutions are not just service providers, but they're also guardians of the financial system. And they do have a legal responsibility to know their customers, to understand the nature of the transactions, to detect suspicious activity, to help prevent criminals, terrorists, and persons who are sanctioned by relevant authorities from using the financial system to disguise illegal proceeds. Remember we talked about money laundering and terrorist financing, which obviously can harm the financial system. So money laundering is not a victimless crime. Some people might think, well, you know, it's just money. It often fuels drug trafficking, frauds, corruption, human trafficking, and organized crime, and in instances, terrorism. So if financial institutions fail in their responsibilities, the consequences can be severe, not only for them, but for the country as a whole, for the country's reputation. And it can damage Grenada's international reputation. It can weaken confidence, for example, in the financial sector. If we have a system that is tainted, investors might be deterred by that fact, right? And of course, it exposes businesses and citizens to greater financial crime and so on. So on today's program, we'll try to explain and talk about the legal responsibilities of financial institutions, why they do what they do. We talk about who is referred to as a financial institution or a reporting entity, right? Because it goes way beyond just banking or maybe credit unions, right? We'll talk a little bit about suspicious transactions and the role each of us can play in protecting the integrity of Grenada financial system. All right, so we're on for a decent conversation this morning. The last time somebody met me and said, you know what you talked about? I never thought about that. But the point is, Nabi, for too long we've been treating that kind of information as a secret. People need to know, right? And if we are aware, it therefore means that we'll be less troubled when we are required to make certain decisions with respect to our financial transactions.
Yeah.
For example, last week we were talking about one of the actions taken by financial institutions to protect us in the use of our debit or credit card, for example.
Right.
And the fact that they do have a threshold on your card, they suggest a threshold. In fact, most institutions would require to determine what your threshold should be. Some have some standard thresholds, which maybe is about $5,000 for those who have deposits that are on the lower end.
Right.
But the idea is to make an attempt to protect you. Because if you have a card that you have access to all the funds you have in the bank or the institutions, then you run the risk if your card is hacked in.
Yeah.
You run into problems. I normally advise people that the account that they use with a debit card or the credit card, there should be a limit. All right. Okay. So let's suppose you decide you want to go shopping, and you have some funds you want to use. You put that much funds on the card. On the card. Okay. So let's suppose your card gets hacked into, which is highly possible.
Yeah.
You only lose that particular amount.
Right.
Unlike if you, for example, have a debit card that's aligned to your mortgage and all the savings you have and so on.
Right.
Then if you get a hit, you get a big hit.
A big hit.
All right. And the many times it will take maybe 3 months thereof to get clarity and for the bank to refund, if you can get a refund.
Yeah.
Right? Because in my view, if you knowingly share your information with someone, or you involve in some careless purchase, I think it's on you, really, to protect your information, to ensure that you have no loss of funds. All right. So even when you travel, the banks may say, look, you need to say to us that you're traveling, so we know that you're using this card out of jurisdiction. Yeah. And even if you want a higher threshold, we must agree on it. And I noticed recently that there's a cutoff as well. The bank say, look, how long you want to be out for? You say 2 weeks, and the cutoff is for the 2 weeks. At the end of the 2 weeks, then you no longer can access the amount of money that you said previously. So I think those are important interventions that you can work with your institutions. And people are not aware. Right? So people have a card, they have it against all the savings, and they're not told anything, or they don't seek advice. So that's why this discussion is so important, that we able to educate those who may be in that space. Yeah. As well, we want to talk about institutions registering. Now, there's a legislation called Act Number 7 of 2018 that requires financial institutions to register with the competent authority. That's the regulators, that is.
Okay.
Not just banks, as I said, not just credit unions, but also you have non-profit organizations.
Okay.
So, for example, charities also have a role to play in this, because as you may be aware that charities have been used in the past as vehicles to launder money and also to fund terrorism. So I think we have a call. Let's take the call and we continue.
Good morning to you.
Hey, good morning. Mr. Pierre, good morning.
Morning, sir.
An institution owed me some money. They say they sent it to my account, and I checked my account, I didn't receive it. So I get back to them and I tell them I didn't receive the money. And they say they would send it back to me, but there's another check they have to send. So they tell me they would charge me, like they would take off $10 from the amount for issuing another check. I want some clarification on that.
Well, thank you. Well, I'm not sure the institution you are dealing with, or what is the tenets or the particulars of the arrangement that you have. Sometimes we ought to look at, for example, when we open an account, we need to look at the fine print.
Oh,
right?
yes.
What are some of the requirements, what we are signing on to. Because I can assure you, the bank and institutions doesn't necessarily make mistakes. They follow the policy.
Right.
So we can follow the bank or the institution if you have originally agreed, right, with certain particulars.
Right.
But if you did not get the transaction, I'm not seeing how they can charge you a second time.
Yeah.
So you need to verify this and have a discussion with your representative. But I want to just point you to the fact that the particulars of the account may say say that. So
Yeah.
you need to pay attention to what you
there are
sign
some
on to.
accounts that.
I mean, as beyond that, even when you take a loan, for example, what you're signing on to as well allows the lending institution to make inquiries about you from other institutions, right?
Yes.
So we need to be cautious, not cautious, but pay attention to the particulars of the arrangement or the contract that we are signing with respect to our financial and transactions. So I was talking about what we are talking about is not necessarily only to do with banks or credit unions, but also charities, non-profit organizations that include churches, for example, and other non-profit organizations. Also something you call DNFBPs, right? So non-financial businesses and professions.
Okay.
So, for example, real estate companies, also attorneys who are engaged in real estate or other types of business that lends itself, falls under the Act. But real estate agents, accountants, lawyers, persons who are involved in jewelry and precious stone, real estate, all of real estate companies, all of them fall under this DNFBPs, non-financial businesses and professions. And they're all caught under the same Act, and they're required to register. All right, so that registration is extremely important. But what is the purpose of the registration? It's really to identify all the regulated entities, and that is for regulatory purposes, and also to conduct anti-money laundering supervision. So, for example, the Anti-Money Laundering Commission, for example, and the FIU to some extent have responsibilities to conduct anti-money laundering supervision on the various entities. With respect to commercial banks, that falls under the ambit of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. So they treat with banks, all right? But credit unions and all the other entities we suggested, the cooperatives, for example, the non-profit organizations that include churches, real estate agents, lawyers, and so on, jewelers, they fall under the AML CFT Commission and the FIU. So these two entities are responsible for ensuring that they are essentially following through with what the legislation requires, and that they are carrying out their functions, right? And we said already why that is important, right? So these two institutions, the AML CFT Commission and the FIU, are responsible for ensuring that institutions follow the law, follow the procedures. They also ensure that you have a policy, anti-money laundering policy, that meets not only the local legislation and local requirements, but also regional and international standards. The last time we talked about the FATF, the Financial Action Task Force, that really design what we call 40 recommendations that sets the tone as the umbrella body for all countries to follow. So a lot of our legislation, a lot of our procedures, a lot of the institutions that we have created within the anti-money laundering space is hinged after these 40 recommendations. That is kind of the gold standard for legislation and for how countries and institutions must behave with respect to fighting money laundering and terrorist financing. Once upon a time, it used to be 40 plus 9, I believe, but that 9 has been subsumed now, so it's 40. That includes not just anti-money laundering, but it includes combating terrorist financing, and also added on to proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. It all has to do with moving monies and so on. So whatever legislation you see that is implemented in Grenada, it's not in isolation necessarily. It follows an international gold standard that comes from the Financial Action Task Force 40 recommendations. So that registration now assists not only for the competent authorities to know who are the entities that exist, what they are doing, also to conduct supervision, as I said, also to monitor compliance. So they actually do face-to-face inspections. That includes interviewing employees, management, boards, directors, and they actually come in and look at the books, look at your files, look at separate files, look at how you secure them, and so on. Look at how you respond, for example, to incidences of suspicious activities. Okay, so that registration is extremely important And it therefore means once you're registered, it means that you are subject to inspections, guidance, and also enforcement where necessary. All right. The practical implication that once you're registered, it means that you are generally expected to follow certain rules and certain regulations, right? And one such regulation or expectation is to implement an anti-money laundering compliance program within your institution, all right? So you hear things as ensuring you have a MLRO, which is a money laundering reporting officer. Every institution that falls under this act of registration must have a money laundering officer. So that appointment must be made.
Okay.
That person must come from some senior place in the institution, and they are responsible to be the middleman, so to speak, between the AML-CFT Commission, the Anti-Money Laundering Commission, and the FIU to share information and so on. And we did say last week that from time to time the FIU and other competent authorities may seek information from financial institutions. For example, if they are investigating a matter, right, and that request meets the threshold, they can make a request, and the law mandates the institutions to respond.
Okay.
All right. So if you are doing anything, having any transaction with an institution, just know that your information can be shared legally. But let me just say this, as I was saying last time, that institutions have the right to ensure that the request meets the threshold.
Okay.
That indeed the FIU or the commission, they actually have reasonable suspicion.
Okay.
To believe that that person is involved in money laundering, terrorist financing, or proliferation, all right, before that information is shared. It should not be done willy-nilly.
Okay.
So, for example, these institutions doesn't necessarily have a responsibility or a right to just ask for information, for example, or to weaponize their power, right? It should meet a threshold, and the law spells that out. Maybe sometime we'll talk about that as well.
Yeah.
All right? So institutions can now ask further questions before they respond. All right? In addition to that, institutions that are registered, that are referred to as financial institutions, reporting entities, or we said designated businesses and professions, include jewelers and real estate and so on, they are mandated to make what you call spontaneous reporting to the FIU on large transactions.
Okay.
For example, if you go to an institution and you do a one-off that reaches 50,000 EC, or you do any accumulated transaction that totals 50,000 EC, that would be reported to the FIU spontaneously.
Okay.
Right. So that's in the legislation.
So if you win the lottery, it goes.
Yeah, if you win the lottery, if you make a deposit, right? If you move monies so let's suppose it's not 50 all at once, but you move amounts that accumulates 50, and I believe it's maybe within a month or 3 months period, that will be reported to the FIU spontaneously. And this information remains as a secret, but it's not. It's in the legislation. If you Google Grenada laws, Nabi, you would find our legislation there online.
Yeah.
And you can look at the Proceeds of Crime Act. You can go to the regulations or even the guidelines as a financial institution and see what you ought to do. Because sometimes people are setting up something, setting up a charity, and they're simply not aware. Okay. Right? We are not designing a way where you can go in one place and find information, for example, on how to set up. Right?
Yeah.
Maybe the 10 steps to take when you're setting up X or Y. It doesn't work like that. You have to feel around. And so we need to have conversation on this. So if you're going to set up an institution as maybe a football association or a football club, that would involve taking donations, for example, right, or making payouts, you would have to register first and foremost with the company registry.
Okay.
And that's a separate and distinct registration for anti-money laundering purposes, right? You're actually registering with the Anti-Money Laundering Commission. Okay. And that's according to Act number 7 of 2018. So it's completely different to registering a company.
Okay.
In fact, if you register a company, when you get to the point of registering under Act number 7, you'll be asked for that company registration.
Okay.
But it doesn't take the place of it. Because remember, it's two separate functions, all right? And I believe the AML Commission has a website. We'll get some more information on that, and maybe you can go up and see. I think there's some capability to register online and so on, some of the documentation and to upload them and so on. But it is important. It therefore means that it's a yearly registration, and if you miss your registration, you could be taken to court and you could be fined. All right, so that's something that we must be very clear on. Now, the AML Commission doesn't have a authority to do any administrative fines when it comes to that particular legislation, but the law says connotes that it must be taken to some tribunal before you can be fined. All right, but just know that if you're registered under Act Number 7 with the AML Commission, you must do so every year. It's a yearly registration, and if you fail to register, it means that you are running afoul of the law. Because as I said, your registration has to do with monitoring.
Right.
It has to do with conducting supervision. It has to do with your identity within the economic space, within the financial space in the country. And so it's important that you are registered, all right? So sometimes, because maybe you're a church, or maybe you set up a charity, for example, to help people with health challenges, you may not understand that you have this greater obligation.
Okay.
All right, and so I just want to make it clear that is important. All right, and also you're also expected to set up and to appoint a money laundering officer. Doesn't necessarily have to be an in-house money laundering officer, might I say.
Okay.
You can have one that does multiple institutions, right?
Okay.
Somebody who is out of office, so maybe we just contracted to do that, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be somebody in-house, because of course it comes at a cost. Maybe you're very small, you don't have the office space, etc., etc. But I've seen where smaller institutions, they hire the same person to do that, and that person would ensure that basically the system is clean, that you're following legislation, that you're following the policy.
Right.
Because one of the things that you must have as a reporting entity is an anti-money laundering policy.
Okay.
Right, and not just policy, because the policy says what must be done. You also need to have an anti-money laundering procedure. So for every item within the policy, you must say how it must be done.
Okay.
So for example, we talked last week about doing customer due diligence. When you have a member or a customer who is coming to open an account, for example, you're expected to treat with the identity and the source of funds and so on, right? That has to do with doing due diligence on your customer or your member. And even if you are an existing member, from time to time, the law requires the same financial institution to assess your transactions, and to go through the same process, right? Maybe to ask you for more recent IDs, or maybe to ask you maybe about your source of wealth if you have been doing some deposits that is out of what you originally stated that you'll be doing. All right. So that becomes a very important thing. So monitoring is important, not just when you're onboarding, when you're joining in, but as you remain an existing member, you're also monitored. All right. So and these days, your financial institutions do have software that makes it easier. So it's not just a manual process.
Right.
The software that can treat with risk, and say, for example, if X person might be depositing out of character.
Okay.
Right? So, for example, when you engage a financial institution to open an account, you have all this paperwork that you have to fill in, right? With your name and maybe your date of birth and all the personal information about you, right? That has to do with your identity, right? That includes, for example, your source of funds, maybe your job letter. They may ask for 1 or 2 IDs, and we did speak last week about some of the stronger ID pieces as your passport, for example, or maybe your voter's ID. They are the stronger versions. A lot ask for the NIS ID as well.
Right.
And in this instance, is because the NIS doesn't necessarily have an end date or expiry date, so it seems to be the better version of the identification methods. But just know that you can ask to renew, because as I said, if you have a baby face when you got a card, as you get older, the institution would want to know more about that.
Yeah.
If you move, for example, let's suppose you move from one place to the next, you're in a different parish or different community, they may ask you now to bring in new source of funds. Not source of funds, but
proof of address.
Proof of address. Thank you so much, my dear. So, and that could be in the form of a utility bill or something of the sort, right? So it all has to do with monitoring, and that's why it's so important that the institution register. Remember, when the institution register with the authority, they are supposed to follow regulations and be guided by a policy. So the policy speaks to all that. Watch, all that should be happening, and the procedures say how it should happen.
Okay.
So, for example, if the policy say that the institution must ensure that they do enhance customer due diligence on high-risk accounts. Now, the procedure would say, well, you have to ask for a second ID, you have to ask about source of wealth, right? You have to ask for additional items, because remember, enhance means that not necessarily the person is involved in criminal activity, but the person is actually committing money laundering.
Okay.
But they are more vulnerable based on their job, based on their rank, based on what they are involved in. All right, you may be asked to go through and enhance customer due diligence. The fact is, institutions don't necessarily tell us what they are doing, so it becomes annoying. But if they explain that based on who you are, the expectation is that we have an additional ID, and they explain the law, it might take a little bit more time. But if the explanation is given, persons are more open to go through the process. All right, so you have customer due diligence, that's for the ordinary people, and you have enhanced due diligence for those who are categorized as high risk. All right, so that is important. So the institutions are expected to maintain records, for example. All right, and that is everything, every transaction that you conduct, that record is kept. And that, of course, is because competent authorities may need information from time to time, as we said, maybe the FIU or the commission or some other competent authority, or maybe the court, for example, may require information pursuant to a court order that might be made by one entity or the other, and that institution must be able now to produce the information or the record in a manner that is clearly understood, and in an acceptable time frame. All right, so that is why all that you do is kept and kept on file. And it is kept years after you may have closed an account. So closing an account, ending a relationship, doesn't necessarily mean that your records disappear with you.
Right.
All right? For years afterwards, the institutions are expected to produce, 5 years afterwards, for example, the institutions are expected to produce your record.
Okay.
All right, so the records are not going away. It's there.
Right.
And that's an important thing. Some people believe when they do a financial transaction, it's gone. It's never gone. It's always there. 5 years after your relationship ends with the institution, records are kept. And these days, it's not in the form of paper so much. These things are scanned in, and it's kept on file. Or what used to occupy an entire cabinet is held on some external drive, taking up very little space. So it's not difficult to keep records. And again, not every institution will be able to have the high-tech software. So some still would do paper. And if it's done just a little bit more, spend more time with it. But you're required to not only keep the records, but keep it safe. So, for example, one of the things that the regulators may want to see when they do an inspection, they may want to see where you are keeping your records.
Right.
Whether it's safe, whether it's in a fireproof cabinet. Because if you're keeping records pursuant to a regulatory responsibility, or for the sake of your clients or your customers or your members, and for the regulators to be able to have access. If you have it just in a box somewhere, right, a fire will take care of that, and you lose all your records.
Right.
So they would ensure that you have it in at least a fireproof filing cabinet, and even then they would pay attention to who have access, and the level of access. Okay. All right. if you have records in a fireproof cabinet and everybody within the office can access the records, then better keep it in a box. Because it therefore means that the integrity of the records would be at stake. So they will look at that. Larger institutions, for example, they will not just have paper records, but they will have, of course, they will be holding it soft, maybe somewhere in the cloud. They may have an off-site mechanism where they hold records as well. So if, for example, the system goes down, you just pull that record and the system is back up.
Right.
All right. Because imagine if an institution, a large institution, is not holding records properly, just paper records, for example, and you have a fire. Then what happens to the clients? What happens to the members or the customers, right?
Yeah.
So they would keep those records in a way where they can just reboot, reset, and the system is back up. They may lose some computers, maybe lose some hard drive, maybe lose a building.
Yeah.
But if you're keeping records now in the clouds, as most of them are doing, or keeping it off-site, for example, you may lose. Let's suppose you keep it on a hard drive, and you might lose 1 month worth of record. You're better than losing everything at all.
Yeah.
Right? Better than losing everything.
That's true.
But most of them would hold it electronically somewhere, so there's no loss really. You may lose some infrastructure that includes computers and so on, but not the record itself.
Yeah.
All right. So it therefore means that you are keeping the records in a state that it can be easily retrieved, and in a manner that could be read and analyzed.
Yeah. We're gonna take a quick break.
Yes. Okay.
Yes,
Cool.
And we'll be back.
We'll come back. Cool. Awesome.
Classic Furniture. Our items are made from the best local wood available on island. Our products are made with love, care, and the experience we have gained over the years. Why do you even contemplate using substandard furniture, which is imported, when you can get the best made right here in Grenada? Our factory is located in the cultural village of Chantimel and our showroom on Benjoon Street, St. Andrew. We are also noted for refurbishing that piece of furniture to its initial look. When looking for quality furniture, there is only one place to look, and that's Classic Furniture, where we take care of your needs with utmost care. So give us a call today and put your furniture woes to rest. Classic Furniture, where love and luxury is combined to provide the ultimate satisfaction. Call us today on 442-4645. Classic Furniture. In Grenada, we supply fertilizers, herbicides, seedlings, and nursery supplies, diesel water pumps, walk behind tillers, organic and environmentally friendly agricultural inputs. We're serving you from 2 locations at Birch Grove and booth 34 at the Vendors Market in Grenville. Cost-effective agricultural solutions for all your needs. Visit Gittins Home and Garden Center for the best in everything agriculture. Call us on 409-2175 or 438-4337. Gittins Home and Garden Center, from your farm to your backyard.
Yo, Grenada on Tuesday, August 4th.
All bad squad assemble.
Because
the thing starts.
Get ready for the big one once again. The ultimate mass event is back. Crave.
We mad blood take over. They feel like a jockey with them when I catch them is over.
Crave, the birthday edition. Come celebrate with Grenada's mashup ambassador, Boise.
Because I don't give one boy. We don't do it.
Boise, as he celebrates his birthday with you. And for the first time, experience Grenada's first Twilight event, a spectacular day into night edition where the vibe starts early and carries straight into an unforgettable night of energy and entertainment. Come experience non-stop vibes, ultimate mass, and high energy entertainment by Grenada's top performers, all backed by the explosive Bad Squad Band. One day, one night, one massive celebration. We're talking dirty mass, paint, powder, girls, and rum.
I'm back in me bag on this road.
Tuesday, August 4th, Crave is the event everyone will be talking about.
A new school year means new opportunities, but it also means new expenses. From uniforms and books to laptops, transportation and school supplies, Grenville Cooperative Credit Union Limited is here to help. Apply for a back-to-school loan and give your child the confident start they deserve. With affordable financing and friendly service, from the credit union you know and trust. Visit your nearest Grenville Cooperative Credit Union branch or call us today for more information. Grenville Cooperative Credit Union Limited, helping members build brighter futures, one school year at a time.
Real expression on 919 Real FM. Unfiltered truth, cultural pride, and the power of radio to amplify voices in Grenada. Whoa! Tune in on the spice side, where the airwaves free read. On the radio see. Whoa! No sugar-coated lyrics, no fabricated vibe, just the raw truth a flow like Mount Kwakwa tribe. From Grand Ends to St. George, this the people them a shout. Real expression now idle, let your heart pour out. Microphone to the heavens, the signal strong and clear. Voices of the voiceless, the oppressed, the sincere. Real FM are the vessel, your message fill the air. Speak your truth, Grenada, where your heart there. Real expression, real connection. 91.9 the righteous reflection. From the hills to the harbor, hear the nation sing. Real FM, the sound where make freedom ring.
And we are back, guys, and we are speaking the responsibility of financial institutions.
Yeah, cool, Nabi. So it's a bit of a heavy discussion, so we need to continue on this. But it's important that we have this conversation on what is expected from the various financial institutions. And I like to call them reporting entities, because we're talking this morning not just about banks or credit unions. We're talking about what we call DNFBPs, non-financial businesses and professions. That includes jewel shops and real estate agents and attorneys, lawyers who act within that ambit.
Right.
And we are talking about employee training. That's one of the responsibilities, that the institution must have the employees trained.
Yes.
Because when you start to think about risk and vulnerabilities, one of the greatest vulnerability an institution can have is employees who are not trained.
Okay.
Because remember, we spoke about the institution as a gatekeeper within the financial space. And if your employees are not trained, then they become a liability. It therefore means they will not be able to identify suspicion, or they will not even be able to treat with the policy that you have designed. Many institutions you go to, they have awesome policies.
Yes.
But it's really not effective on the ground.
Right.
All right. So if you ask, for example, one of the employees about what the policies say about a particular subject, they may not know. Right. So that's where training come in.
Right.
Not just on the laws and legislation and the procedures, but also on your particular policy. Because the policy is what should be the guide that should drive how business flow within the particular entity. So training is important.
Okay.
And the law even go further to say that the employee should be tested.
Okay.
Tested for learning, for example, because you may do training, and if there is no mechanism to test whether or not your employees learn anything,
something, right?
Then you really miss the mark. Because as an institution, you'll be held accountable if you did not provide the requisite training to your employees.
Okay.
All right, because as I said, an untrained staff is a major vulnerability, and maybe one of the premier vulnerabilities for any institution, right? And your size doesn't matter. All right, it means maybe your size may mean greater risk, but the fact that you are a non-profit organization, you're a church organization, it doesn't mean that you can do whatever you want. So, for example, when it comes to a church, you may say, well, how do I do customer due diligence? Well, you have members. And if your members are paying, for example, some churches accept tithes.
Yeah.
And some accept offerings, but all churches accept donations.
Yeah.
Then it therefore means that a proper record must be kept
right.
of your donations, of your tithes, of your your offerings.
Right.
That must be recorded in document so that it could be made available for inspection. Because remember we said that a non-profit organization can also be monitored as far as the law is concerned.
Right.
As can also be supervised. Therefore means that the fact that you're a church doesn't mean that you can escape the law. So if you have a church, and it's not necessarily every church, because if you form part of an umbrella body, it may be just one registration, right? And that umbrella body must be able to show how all the affiliates are fitting into the anti-money laundering policy on the ground, because churches have been known to launder, churches have been known to facilitate terrorism financing. So, as I was saying to you earlier on, that what is happening here in Grenada is an offshoot of what the global trends, all right?
Right.
So we are not isolated as a country when it comes to our financial dealings. Remember, we talked about the value of correspondent banking.
Yeah.
That a bank in
Yes.
Grenada by itself, with no collaboration or cooperation or support from an international bank, really is just a local saving point.
Yeah.
Right? If you wanted to do business in Japan and you go to your bank would require a US bank, which is called a correspondent bank, to act on its behalf, and then they reconcile.
Right.
All right?
Right.
It also means, therefore, that if you're a non-profit organization locally, you're not a bank, but you need a bank to facilitate, for example, donations, overseas donations,
Right.
or monies you may need to transfer.
Right.
It therefore means that as a charity, as a non-profit organization, you must be able to show the bank that you also follow the AML-CFT regime, that you also have a policy, all right? That you also are supervised, that you also is currently registered with the AML-CFT Commission in line with Act number 7 of 2018. Otherwise, you may have problems opening an account. In fact, right now, financial institutions would refuse you with respect to opening an account if you are yourself a reporting entity and you're not registered with the AML-CFT Commission. So that certification is now an important document, a priority when it comes to opening an account. You see how the system is set up, how the network functions to ensure that all the vulnerability spots are closed. All right. So the fact that you are a credit union, for example, you're not a bank. You're not acting as a bank, so you need a bank. It means that your processes, your dealings, your procedures must meet the standard of the institution that you are banking with, and must be aligned with a strong AML-CFT policy. Remember, if you are an institution and you're taking donations, you are dealing with customers, but you're not a bank, you have to go and put those money in a bank.
Yeah.
And it means that you are now inputting risk in that institution.
Right.
And that can affect the institution's corresponding banking relationship. Because if you have, for example, unregulated non-profit organizations that might be banking with a particular local bank, then that local bank is relying on corresponding banking relationship. Then you see where I'm going with that. It means that the corresponding bank can say, no, you're not, the persons that you are banking for are not properly regulated, and so we cannot bank, we can facilitate your transactions anymore. So you see, everybody must be in line, all right, with each other. And that is important. So from time to time, your commercial bank, the institution that you are banking with as an institution yourself, may ask you for an updated policy, may question you about your processes and your procedures, may require and ask if you do have a money laundering reporting officer. All right, all these can become important, and these are the questions that you might be asked. Now, to be in this business, it will cost you, because those additions would cost something. All right, if you're going to hire a money laundering officer, it would cost you additional. But tell you what, you can't do without it. So it's a necessary evil. You can't do without it. The law requires it, because you would realize if something goes wrong, how important that position is.
Yeah.
All right, and that money laundering officer is expected to manage and maintain the MLCFT process, right? Reporting to the FIA, reporting to the commission, maybe doing assessments from time to time, doing risk assessment from time to time, monitoring how employees behave, how they're interacting with customers, all right? If they're doing what they're supposed to do, they're following the internal policy, all right? So that is extremely important. So if you go to do business and you act inappropriately, more than likely you can be deemed to be suspicious, and you can be reported to the FIU unknowing to you. The law says that the institution must be remained tight-lipped, and it must be reported behind your back. That is how the law frames it. That is what is the goal or international standard. If as an institution or employee, you say to one of your customers or your members that there is a suspicion on you, you committing a crime. It is called tipping off.
Okay.
Exactly. So you must keep your mouth shut, and you must act accordingly, and you have an internal reporting process. And if it meets the threshold, I can assure you that the reporting officer will report you to the FIU. Okay. All right? And nobody wants that. So it therefore means that you must be open with your identification, with sharing your source of funds. And I did say, if you lie about your source of funds, that's also a crime. You're making a false declaration. All right? And many people normally, when you ask about the source of funds, they try to tell you what they're going to do with it. It's not the purpose of it. It's the source where it's coming from.
Okay.
If it's a gift, and maybe you might be in a tight spot to say where the gifts came from, but you'd have to do so. All right? That's something that you have to do to be truthful as you possibly can, because you realize if you're not, that's a false declaration. All right? Because as I said in the beginning, it's all about protecting the integrity and stability of the financial system.
Right.
Right. Think about what it would be like if our banks or main financial institutions are all tainted with dirty money. Right? With monies that emanating from organized crime and terrorist activities and money laundering.
Right.
Think about how the corresponding banks would respond. And think about what that would do with our ability to engage the world in transactions.
Yeah.
All right. So it's simply put that we have to behave in a way that lends itself to fit within that global space of how financial institutions should behave. And of course, we said that you're actually protecting your customers' funds, you're preventing fraud, and most importantly, you're preserving public confidence. All right? Because you don't want your institution to be shut down, right? You don't want your institution to be what you call de-risk. That's what it's called. Say if a corresponding bank decides that they're not dealing with you anymore, it is called de-risk. They de-risk you.
Okay.
Means that they remove themselves from the risk.
Yeah.
And you will be in a lonesome place. You'll not be able to function and support your customers.
Right.
So that is why institutions must follow legislation so tightly. So we talked a lot about registering and why you should register, and you have a mandate to register each year. All right? There has been something going on for a while now where the commission is actually speaking to people about administrative fines. That's fines that is outside of the court, right?
Okay.
That rests with the MLCFT Commission, but not with respect to this particular legislation of registration. And so financial institutions must pay attention to that. The fact that the fine is requested by the commission doesn't mean that it is legal.
Okay.
So I would suggest that if you get such a request to pay any administrative fine, that you seek some legal redress before you respond. All right?
Right.
And that is not knocking the commission now. That is just following the law.
True.
Right? Act
True.
number 7 of 2018 does not give the commission the authority to pose any administrative fine, but you can be taken to court.
Okay.
Right? Because the law says on conviction. Right? So if it's on conviction, there must be some trial.
Yeah.
All right? It can't be an administrative fine. So it has been happening. Institutions have been responding, but might I say, if you come up with such a letter, that's such a demand, that to seek legal advice. But having said that, I did say that if you are a reporting entity, registration is important, the initial registration, and renewal of registration every year is important. So if it is on the 5th of January, by November, you should start filling out your forms, getting all the ducks in a row to register on time. And I always recommend that you register beforehand. I believe the Commission, I don't want to swear to it, but I believe the Commission has some online capabilities where you can at least go up on the website and see what's going on. Right? I'm not speaking for them, but I'm just saying that as public knowledge.
Right. And
you'll be guided. You can call the office, etc. Right? So you start to do your work beforehand. Right? So registering on time is important, and re-registration is also important. But having said that, the Commission doesn't have the authority to fine you administratively. Right? So let's get that really clear. And we did see that all that we are doing forms part of our international obligations. We are not functioning in a silo. We are functioning in line with the global expectation. One of the important functions of the financial institution is to conduct what we call risk assessment. All right? A risk assessment. That's an obligation. In fact, the law mandates institutions to do so. Right? And it's done maybe every 2 or 3 years. But of course, if, for example, there is a major shift in trends in the financial space, for example, you may need to do one before 3 years, right? But the idea is to be able to say with some measure of certainty the level of risk that exists within your own institution, right? And the competent authority would ask for that. That is a document that you must have, and to be able to present to them so that they get a sense of what is happening internally. So it enables the organization to answer some critical questions. For example, in terms of what are we most vulnerable? Where are we most vulnerable? All right? How effective are our existing controls, for example? What additional controls that we are required to take? Because if you never do an assessment, you never know where your openings are. I always give the example that, as a boy, once rainy season was pending, my dad would check the roof. And if there are any holes there, then that would be fixed by something we used to call flash ban. You might be too young to know about that. But it's something with tar below it. It looks like a foil on the top with tar below it. And that will be used to take care of all the holes in the roof, right, to prevent leaking. So it's the same thing with a risk assessment. What he actually did was do a risk assessment and mitigate it by blocking the holes. All right, so the same thing an institution must do. If you never do an assessment, you never know where you're weak, for example. So, for example, one of the tenets of the risk assessment could be testing your employees to see if they know how to respond to a suspicious activity, for example. And if they're not adequately equipped to respond to it, it means that that's a vulnerability and you need now to do some training. So the risk assessment will identify these. All right? The risk assessment can also identify some of the products and services you offer, where there might be weaknesses, for example. All right? So for example, you have persons who come to do business. The institution is supposed to be able to identify what you call suspicious activity. All right, and what is that suspicious activity? It's an activity that is out of character for the customer. You see, when the customer begins or commences his relationship with the institution, based on the data they collect and the conversations and everything else, maybe your pay slip, your ID, proof of address, that would identify and paint a certain picture about you. And the last time we did say, at that stage, the institution must ascribe a risk level to you. Right? And to put it mildly, the institution must say how much damage you can do to the institution. Right? Because what is a risk, right? A risk is the possibility that something could happen.
Yes.
Something bad could happen. That's a risk. I don't want to make it too complex. Something bad could happen. So every member, every customer that begins to do business or has ongoing business, the institution must be able to say at every point, what's the risk level of that customer or member?
Right.
All right. So, as I was saying, when you go to that transaction, because the initial stages you had a threshold or you had a risk level, when you go to do a transaction, institutions will be able to say that transaction is out of character for you. All right. So let's suppose you open an account as a government employee. You have one source of income. Maybe you're getting $2,500 as the basic salary, or I'll go too high. maybe $1,500 as a young worker, for example, and you bring in your pay slip and everything else, and you start a relationship with the institution, a bank, or the credit union or so. The expectation is that every month that money goes to the institution. You spend some, you might have a loan, for example, and you have a saving. The institution is able to monitor a pattern.
Right.
If you come one day over the counter to deposit $5,000, then that is a separate picture altogether. Remember, initially you said you had one source of income, and it was your salary from the government.
Right.
Now, it doesn't become a suspicious activity right away, because you may have a really good reason why you now have this $5,000 to deposit. It could be a gift. Mm-hmm. Maybe you took a loan from a different institution. Maybe you had a savings home for a very long time that you were piling up. Well, that could be a reason.
Yeah.
So what you'll be required to do, I hope, by a financial institution, because it's out of character, is to give an explanation as to where that money came from.
Okay.
If you do so successfully, and the institution tests it, turns out to be bona fide, then you're home free. Your monies will be deposited, and you have some additionals on your account.
Right.
If you are not able to do so, or what you've said when tested turned out to be untrue, all right, then the institution must now determine whether or not the transaction is considered to be suspicious. All right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you hear you jigging, and I say jigging because the local parlance for saying you're hesitating
right.
to share information with the institution, and you're lying about source of funds, and you're lying about where things come from, you're giving misinformation. Once they test the veracity of what you're going to say, your transaction becomes suspicious.
Okay.
And if the institution is actually doing what it's supposed to do, or what its policy says it should do, that report would be made to the FIU. Right? Or should be made to the FIU.
Okay.
And what you've just done is expose yourself to some kind of investigation. So I'm just saying this to say that, be truthful, be upfront.
Right.
Sometimes it might be really confidential information. Take, for example, that I'm going to use that, like you're married, for example, and you get a gift from somebody else. That might be something that you might have difficulty in sharing with the institution. But might I say that the institution has an obligation, as we said last week, to keep your information confidential.
Right.
So if they ask you to do a source of funds, you have to say that the funds came from, right, Miss John Doe or Mr. John Doe. And that is on file. But it's confidential. So it shouldn't end up anywhere else.
All right.
All right? But you run the risk of that. And we did talk last week about the source of funds matter.
Yeah.
And this feeling that it's only if you go to deposit $10,000. That's not so.
Yeah.
The example I just gave means that if you go to deposit $5,000, it's out of character. You can be asked to do a source of funds.
Right.
Right? And bringing it in small amounts wouldn't change anything.
Yeah, because they would have paper trail.
Of course. So saying that you're going under 10,000, bring 8,000, it shouldn't make a difference.
Right.
If, for example, institutions have well-trained employees and they have a policy that is clear, that is concise, and that gives proper direction through its procedures, the employees should easily identify this. All right? So the fact that you asked to do a source of funds is simply the institution doing what it's supposed to do as part of its customer due diligence, a part of its ascribing risk and dealing with vulnerabilities within the institutions.
Right.
All right. If you have a weak policy, you also have a vulnerability.
Okay.
All right. If you have a weak management, for example, or a weak money laundering officer, that's a vulnerability as well. People tend to think it's only about gates and padlocks and keypads to protect the external part of the building. Well, it's not that. Right. That's just one part of it. Right. What truly protects the institution is this internal system that should include trained employees, right? And what you call a robust internal system that can easily identify suspicious transactions or members or customers' interest in using or desire to use the institution to facilitate money laundering or maybe terrorist financing.
Right.
All right. The idea is that you try to minimize, and I don't say prevent, I don't know if you could fully prevent, but minimize funds coming from criminal activity into your institution. All right. And what we are talking about really is a system that should protect your institution. Right. So when you hear people talk about risk, right? Risk is not just in isolation. Sometimes we misunderstand what risk is. But risk is actually an equation. Risk is about threat, a vulnerability, right? If you do not have a threat, then you have no risk. But you might be vulnerable. But the risk equation is not completed. So take, for example, you're sitting inside your home and you have steel doors and you still have wrought iron on. You have all the monitors on. You have cameras.
Right.
There's a lion outside, right? Roaring. You inside your house, you can drink wine. You don't have to bother. Right? You have a threat, which is the lion, but you're not vulnerable. So you really don't have a risk. So threat plus vulnerability equal this consequence. So you may have a threat. So in this case, the lion is outside, he's roaring, his head out. You inside, you're safe. So you have the threat, no vulnerability, no risk. What about if you have no doors? The lion is roaring outside, and you can't drink wine inside. Because now you have a threat, you have a vulnerability.
Right.
More than likely, the lion is going to come to get you. And you have a consequence, which maybe you might lose a body part or wind up dead. Just so in an institution, right? You have threats, persons who want to use the institution to deposit their dirty money as a threat. But if you have a closed door, which would be trained employees, a proper policy, a system of monitoring, doing adequate risk assessment, you have almost a wall.
Right.
Therefore means that you have the same threat,
Right.
but you have little vulnerability. What about if you have careless employees, untrained employees, you have a weak system, no policy? Then it therefore means that you have a threat, you have vulnerability, more than likely the institution will be used to facilitate money laundering or even terrorist financing.
Right.
All right. So as we were saying that the non-profit organization, they are not exempted. They form part and parcel of the entity that should register with the AML Commission.
Right.
You may need to get additional information and support because most non-profit doesn't necessarily have the funds available to have this elaborate structure. Right. But you may need to get those information. And I'm longing for the time when you have a place where you can just Google and you see everything you need to do. So you have the thought of creating a non-profit organization. You can just go into that space and you'll see all the registration, all that might be expected, including the monitoring mechanism and so on, right? One of these days, I'm hoping that we do have that. Okay? So non-profits, and I'm stressing on that this morning because sometimes we misunderstand and we think, well, because a church or a non-profit, why we have to do that and so on. It is because like institutions have been used heavily for particularly terrorist financing or even money laundering, right? And that is why there's so much focus on them. So we may not necessarily have a tainted non-profit system in our country, but of course the law mandates that the non-profit also register. that they also follow the guidelines as set out by the legislation.
Right.
So they too must do customer due diligence, as I said. People making large deposits, large offerings, and so on, or large contributions to the church, a record must be kept of them. Right? I'm not saying that you should refuse it, except you are aware that it's coming from a place where you shouldn't deal, right? But you should at least record, and if it's large enough and suspicious enough, you should report. Right? That is what the law requires, and therefore, I know you may end up losing your donation, but you might as well follow the law than to have your church
under investigation,
so to speak, or being the risk. Say that you can't do no transaction, you can't take no offering or no tithes or anything, which is highly possible if you are seen to be used as a vehicle, right? And these standards also help for your own internal protection, because if you have records, if you are keeping records, the likelihood that your employees become a vulnerability point outside of being untrained, because we're talking a lot about external customers and members and so on, and persons who come into the transactions. One of the greatest vulnerabilities could be your employees. If you have employees that are untrained, if you have employees that are not doesn't have integrity, you run the risk of having some serious internal scams going on without any participation of any external person. All right? And it therefore means your internal controls must also be robust to ensure that your employees are not able to dip their hands in the funds and manipulate records and so on, right? So, but the entire policy would take care of that, and I believe all institutions would have some mechanism. And I'm imploring now that churches should also have, non-profit organizations should also have, right? Once you're going to receive donations or you're going to fund anything, all right? There's some institutions are designed, for example, for community work, and they're not doing any community work at all.
Yeah.
Right? They're doing something completely different to the community work. All right? And that is why registration is important. You're not supposed to function as a non-profit or a charity if you're not registered. Because when you're registered, it means therefore that you are identified and you can be supervised and monitored for your own good. Because anytime something remains unsupervised, people get careless. The best of us gets very careless. And before you know it, you can be used as a vehicle to fund terrorism. Right? Sometimes people make requests that can now reach a charity and encourage a charity to make donations. That donation could be going to a terrorist organization. Right? Remember we talked about terrorist financing. That is not necessarily dirty money.
Right.
Sometimes it's good, legitimate funds that has been used, right? And you can do it unknowingly too. Many times unknowingly, because people make a request, they may have a sad story to it, they may say, well, the children might be suffering, or they have this community that needs support. And churches and charities, they normally respond to that kind of a request. I remember during my prayer time a few years ago, you had somebody who was messaging me during the prayer, but they're telling me about an orphanage that they're managing and how they need funds and whatever, right? I won't say the territory, that they were saying. And I never really respond, because I always felt I Googled and I searched around. I saw a similar name to the orphanage, but not necessarily associated with the name. So who knows? They understand. That's what I was speaking about, how nefarious people monitor your footprint online. And so because this prayer comes up spontaneously every morning, then that person used the opportunity to seek a donation from me. Right? Who knows whether it might be just straight up fraud. It could be going to terrorism for any other thing, maybe to buy narcotics, whatever the case is. It's a unsuspecting way that people use. And that particular conversation is directed to or on behalf of the non-profit organizations,
Right.
right? Because they normally say, well, why are we involved in this? Why do we have to register? We're not committing crimes. Well, of course not, I hope. But obviously you can be used as a mechanism, both to launder and also to fund terrorism.
Right.
And the members of your organization must want to know that there's a mechanism that manages the institution finances. If you're paying tithes, you're doing offerings, you'd want some comfort that some record is kept, right, of what is happening,
Yeah.
so the integrity of the institution can be maintained. Because we're talking about integrity, right?
Yes.
And that, of course, is important, because if you are registered, it means, therefore, that the AML Safety Commission or the FIU can pop in at any time, well, with notice, except for some other reason, and they can ask that you make your documentation and your system and your processes available so that they can have it tested, right? And as a member of an institution, you would want to cooperate with your own institution, because tell you what, you're a member of a credit union, for example.
Right.
When you go to do business, you never want to cooperate. You never want to speak about the source of funds. You never want to renew your ID pieces.
Yeah.
But what happens when the regulator inspects your institution?
Yeah.
And gives it a bad grade? That affects you.
Yeah.
So if you really mean well for your institution, because they are serving you, right? You will get a loan, etc., etc. Right? You make deposits to save your money. Therefore, you should be cooperating fervently.
Right.
Right? Of course, within reason, and you would know what is out of character for the institution. But you should be open to cooperate so that you will help your institution to remain in good health as far as fighting money laundering and terrorist financing is concerned.
Right.
So you realize that we're talking a lot about members and customers, because you actually the lifeblood of your institution.
Yeah.
Whatever mechanism they put in place based on legal requirement is about keeping the institution safe. I know it feels bureaucratic sometimes, a lot of bureaucracy, a lot of forms will be filled in. Even me, I get fed up sometimes when they send something to me a second time and say, well, they want that filled out, or, right, I complain. But I understand where it's coming from, because you pay the price if you don't have it in place. The institute, the authorities may make requests that the institution cannot meet, and that becomes a problem, right? It puts them in the red. So as members, as customers, we are to do what we can, all that we can, to ensure that our institutions remain safe.
Yes.
All right, there's so much more we can say about this. I know we're coming to the close of the program,
Yeah.
but I just want to use some of our discussions to enlighten persons on the responsibilities. So you go to a bank, you know what to expect, and you know why the bank is doing what they might be doing, or why the credit union is doing what they might be doing, and what are some of your responsibilities, what some actions you can take to ensure that your institution remains healthy.
Yeah.
Bearing in mind that if they are unhealthy, it would affect their corresponding bank relationship, as I said. They would have a hell of a time with the authorities, with the competent authority, in the supervision and the monitoring.
Right.
All right, and that would cost money to fix, which would come from your savings. Let me just say to you, right, which would maybe, and I say your savings because they may have to reduce the interest they pay you to get monies to fix the system.
Right.
When in fact you can have gotten much more interest than you currently get. All right. So I want to thank all the listeners and the viewers and so on. It was a heavy topic, a heavy conversation. We continue to speak about it. Please, you can ask questions even on this live afterwards when you're relooking it or when you share it, and we might try to answer some questions as we go along in another program. So thank you so much. Thank you, Nabi, for your support.
No problem.
And your pretty dress this morning.
Thank
all
you.
the best to you. One love.
All right. Have a great day, guys.
Real expression on 919 Real FM. Unfiltered truth, cultural pride, and the power of radio to amplify voices in Grenada.